Some news about the new mechanic in set 5.5 just dropped, and I'll give you the short version here and run through everything that I think is important. If you want to read the whole article yourself, it will be linked down in the description. It says here that Dawn of Heroes sees the sun set on shadow items and rise for an all-new mechanic. So we're seeing shadow items being removed and they're being replaced with radiant items that only give bonuses with no drawbacks. We also get a new loot orb like the Lucky Lantern that only drops once you are below 40 HP. So now let's get into the actual article. The first paragraph in summary says that the developers want the game to feel less repetitive and more like a game you can come back to match after match. They made the drawbacks of the shadow items less punishing and made bonus armories that made the game feel fresh. They're also removing shadow items, and the rest of this paragraph is just TFT lore. The short version of the second paragraph is that the radiant items will act like shadow items. They will take the vanilla item and only give it a bonus effect, so there will not be drawback to these. In their own words, they say, "They're so OP that we can only give you one per game." You get to pick your radiant item in an armory which offers you 5 different items, and this armory will appear on anywhere from stage 3 through 6. They revealed 3 of these items so far. The Radiant Death Cap is very basic, and it's just as strong as the Shadow Death Cap, but you don't get the drawbacks of minus 20% HP. The Radiant Quicksilver looks pretty nutty. It is even stronger than the Shadow QSS as you don't lose the max HP, and you also get bonus attack speed now. The last one is Radiant Banshee's Claw. This one looks insanely strong as it gives your entire team a Trap Claw and also gives them bonus HP. They continue on in the paragraph and say that they want this item to feel like something you can build your team around, much like a pseudo-chosen mechanic, only here you have to pick later in the game. It also says that all 8 players pick their Radiant item at the exact same time. The rest of the paragraph is pandering, and they will do their best to make this mechanic balance, make all the Radiant items feel viable, and it should make each TFT game feel more unique, they say. The short version of the third paragraph says that they are bringing a new mechanic called Divine Blessings that give you a loot orb once you reach below 40 HP. This is to try and make those uncontrollable 8ths go away. This loot orb contains a combination of item components, gold, consumables, spatulas, and full drop champions. They also show a video where they show off what it looks, and in this case they only got gold, but what we get from the loot orbs will definitely be subject to change. They also include that the value each player gets is the same, but the actual items will be different. So you might get dropped 10 gold in a sword, but another guy might get 10 gold in a rod. The short version of the fourth paragraph says that they are introducing a new drop called the Tome of Emblems. This can drop from the Divine Blessing loot orb, or it can drop from the PvE rounds. This Tome of Emblems gives you a shop of 4 different spatula items, or emblems as they now are called. You will also need enough bench space to pick this up, so it will definitely be a pain to deal with if you get this during a transition. The short version of the fifth paragraph is that they're removing the Shadow Spatula, but they're not removing Shadow Emblems. In fact, they're introducing more. In this picture, we can see that we're getting a Ranger and Knight emblem as well. These will show up in bonus armories like we're already used to. And yes, this means that now you can get 5 Draconic online without a Heimerdinger. Now onto my thoughts about this. I am a bit concerned about the new Radiant items, mostly because you will have to pick one at anywhere between stage 3 and 6. This means that already on 3-1, right after beating Krugs, you'll have to choose the main direction for your comp. Now this does sound bad if you're already leaning towards an AP comp, and it doesn't offer you a Radiant AP item. This will definitely make the times when you low roll feel really bad. But as always, TFT is also about making the best out of what you get offered. So there are probably some very generic Radiant items that you can always safely pick. And this might become a problem. If you're leaning towards AP comp and you also get the Radiant AP item, you will become infinitely stronger. And if there is one thing we learned from Chosen, it's that it feels terrible when some people get a huge power spike out of nowhere. People hitting Tryndamere or Kayle Chosen at level 7 never felt great for anyone, except the player who got it himself. All of this is subject to change, so they might make it so that we don't get these Radiant items offered until, for example, stage 4, when most people have a clear direction for their comp. There's also the issue of balance. For example, this Radiant Trap Claw will feel like something you can always grab if Volibear is overpowered in a patch, as it directly counters that unit. But all in all, the shadow items felt very meh to me, so I'm excited for a new change, and I can't wait to test this out on the PvE server. The Divine Blessing, which is the new loot orb that drops, is basically a rework of the Lucky Lantern from set 4.5, and I was mostly a fan of this, so I'm happy to see it return. I also really love the fact that it always drops when below 40 HP. I can already picture an open fort strategy where you take a ton of damage throughout the early and mid game, so you're less than 40 HP, then level to 7 on 3-5 and do a large roll down while also getting a ton of items and gold to further improve your power spike. The Tome of Emblems sounds like an interesting touch. It should always be hype to get this from the PvE rounds, and the fact that it works just like an armory full of spatulas is a nice thing to see as well. The fact that they're adding in emblems for all traits is cool, and it feels like a nice touch. I can already picture some funny scenarios where you go 4 Ranger on Mordekaiser and he will go into full rage mode and just clap everybody super hard. But there's also the concern of somebody hitting 5 Draconic online super early, so we will definitely have to see before we make a judgment call on this. So in conclusion, I'm excited about the set mechanic of set 5.5, although I am a bit concerned at the same time, but I will remain optimistic and I'm hoping for 3 more months of fun while playing TFT. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a like and subscribe to the channel, and let me know if you enjoyed the way I presented the TFT news, and if you would like me to cover more TFT news in the future. And as always, if you want to get better at TFT, join the Discord. We got over 3,000 other players there who are ready to grind set 5.5 and learn the new OP strats together before anybody else does. And if you want to get coached by me, the information is over on the Discord server as well. So take care, and see you in the next video.